Mobile is the biggest gaming platform in the world, and mobile gaming is known for tons of tower defense games. The problem is that there are too many tower defense games, so it can often be hard to find a good one. So in this video, I am going to reveal the top 10 mobile tower defense games of 2026. The first game on our list is Dungeon Warfare 3, a tower defense game. Its primary mechanical distinction from genre standards is terrain editing, where you place tiles to shape the battlefield before and during enemy waves, determining how attackers move through the dungeon. This interacts directly with trap placement because routing enemies through specific paths affects which traps trigger and in what sequence. The trap roster is larger than in previous entries, and each trap can be upgraded and modified. Experience earned from completed levels feeds into a permanent progression system that carries across runs. Enemy variety has been expanded, and individual enemy types require different defensive responses. The game includes both handcrafted levels and a procedural generation system intended to extend replayability beyond the fixed content. Adjustable difficulty settings also allow encounters to be customized without disrupting the overall balance of the game. The second game on our list is ThroneFall, a tower defense strategy game where you build and defend a tiny kingdom. You start with just your castle, a bit of gold, and a bunch of empty land. Build a mill for income, drop some walls or towers, then prepare for nightfall. Enemies pour in from all sides, and you have to defend with whatever you manage to build. You fight alongside your troops using a sword or bow, depending on how you spec your build. Each night gets harder. Each day you rebuild, adjust your strategy, and try again. There's no menus, no tech trees, no micromanaging, just smart upgrades, enemy variety, and clean visuals that keep the screen readable, even when things get chaotic. The game keeps it focused, one screen, one fight at a time. Within that space, it finds a perfect rhythm. Build by day, battle by night, repeat. If something goes wrong, it's on you. Not enough towers, bad weapon choice, poor placement, fix it next run. Each level feels unique. Snowy peaks, dry canyons, narrow bridges with choke points. Every stage throws something new at you. The third game on our list is Riff, a strategy-focused tower defense game where the core loop centers on jumping between rifts, defending territory, and adapting to enemy behavior rather than reacting to pure chaos. Towers feel distinct with clear roles and upgrade paths that reward planning instead of constant adjustment. Monsters behave differently across scenarios, forcing changes in placement and loadout choices rather than repeating the same solution. It's a great game and even supports portrait mode, though touch controls could use more work. The fourth game on our list is Tower Dominion Go, a tower defense game where you manage defensive structures against waves of alien enemies called Artronids. The core design centers on terrain manipulation. You place and modify tiles to redirect enemy movement, creating choke points that concentrate tower fire or route enemies into trap positions. Elevation and path geometry function as primary tactical variables rather than secondary options. Factions operate as distinct rule sets, each with its own biome conditions, tower types, and strategic tendencies. 10 heroes are available per faction, each carrying a specific ability profile that shifts how you approach defensive construction. Between waves, the game presents an upgrade selection that allows players to adjust their strategy incrementally based on observed enemy composition. 4 difficulty settings and an open-ended frontier mode extend replayability. Random enemy combinations also prevent battles from becoming too predictable. The fifth game on our list is Mochi-O, a tower defense shooter structured around a directional aiming mechanic in which you control a hamster called Mochi-O as a primary weapon against advancing enemy waves. Defeated enemies drop seeds, which you collect to accumulate experience and trigger skill selection from a randomized set of choices. The core loop runs on this cycle of combat, seed collection, and skill acquisition, while reinforcing Mochi-O's capabilities as enemy waves advance toward a defense line. Currency earned during battle can be spent between engagements to strengthen Mochi-O further and unlock additional weapons that provide combat advantages. Seeds also serve a secondary function as a trust-building resource, as feeding them to Mochi-O raises a trust level that improves the character's base statistics. The sixth game on our list is Mindustry. The core objective of this game revolves around safeguarding the core, and players achieve this by constructing an array of defenses, including walls, turrets, traps, and more, utilizing resources extracted from various deposits scattered across the game map. The game introduces a unique approach to resource extraction, emphasizing the mechanics of industrialization. While manual extraction is notably slow, players Players can leverage drills and conveyor belts to systematically construct mining plants that significantly enhance the rate of resource accumulation. This integration of industrial elements adds a layer of strategic depth to the gameplay. The 7th game on our list is Ants vs. Robots, a colony simulator with a basic but functional setup. You play as either ants or robots, building up your base and managing your units. The gameplay is divided into 2 core modes. RTS mode is more traditional. You fight against another colony, expanding territory and managing resources. The second mode shifts into tower defense, where you set up your defenses and try to hold off waves of bugs. Both modes use the same core mechanic, so it doesn't take long to switch between them. Story mode gives you levels to progress through with clear goals, while sandbox mode is more relaxed and lets you experiment. The map editor adds some value if you like to tinker or build your own challenges. Matches are short, decisions are quick, and the game keeps things light. The 8th game on our list is Inkvasion, a mobile strategy game with a blocky 3D art style that merges RTS mechanics, town building, and tower defense into one framework. The day-night cycle divides gameplay into 2 functional phases. Daytime is allocated to resource gathering, construction, and preparation. When night arrives, wave-based attacks from ink-borne enemy creatures begin, and the defensive systems built during the day are put to use. The economy runs on farming and mining to sustain town growth and military capacity. Troops, defenses, and positioning all contribute to survival, requiring consistent attention to battlefield control rather than simple reaction. Dynamic terrain and weather conditions further affect encounters, forcing you to adapt strategies instead of relying on a single approach. The 9th game on our list is Kingdom 2 Crowns, which presents players with an immersive gaming experience as they embark on the task of building and expanding their kingdom, starting from a modest campfire and evolving into formidable forts across multiple islands. The game's progression is punctuated by the relentless attacks from a peculiar army of monsters that assail the kingdom each night, adding a layer of challenge and urgency to the gameplay. Defense against nightly monster attacks is a key aspect of gameplay. While these attacks are generally manageable, the monsters possess the ability to gradually pilfer gold until the player loses their crown. Upon such a defeat, players are reset to the game's starting point, requiring them to rebuild their base from scratch. However, the loss is not absolute, as previously established buildings on colonized islands remain intact. The 10th game on our list is 2112 TD. It stands out in the genre by paying homage to 90s real-time strategy games, particularly classics like StarCraft and Command & Conquer. The game adopts an isometric perspective and introduces a higher level of involvement in unit management, reminiscent of the strategic depth found in traditional RTS titles. Set in outer space, specifically within your base, the primary objective is straightforward: repel all enemies and safeguard Earth's colonies from complete annihilation. One notable aspect is its emphasis on base management and expansion. As players progress through the game, they have the opportunity to unlock various research features that contribute to the development and enhancement of their base. This strategic layer adds depth to the gameplay, providing players with the tools needed to tackle evolving challenges and enemy threats.
Well, that's it, guys. Hope that helps. If a game is not on here that you think should be on here, it is probably because I put it in a different genre, like perhaps an RPG or an action game or something else. I have a video for every genre out there, so I recommend checking that out. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.